Hey, good morning. Just dropped off my kids at school here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm gonna do another day of self-driving, self-driving back to the house, and just chit chat along the way. Here we go. Just gonna back out of here to the parking lot. Also noticed the parking lot navigation is starting to improve. So I've been testing it out, getting out of the parking lot once I get slightly out of the parking space. We'll give it a little test run here. Looks like it would be ready to try it. Decision making is a little bit slow still, but it does make its way through effectively. So it giving some promise that it can move it along. Okay, this is interesting. It's going right. Oh yeah, wait, I've got the place where I'm going. All right, we're gonna go home. Okay. It treats these really severe turns um as actual left or right hand turns. Some it does, some it doesn't. I've got the two children. One is 6, one is 8, and I don't know if this is for every family, but my children will have like these massive fights, yelling, screaming, sometimes getting physical with one another, and just trying to work with them to help them understand how to mitigate that, and just generally change their approach to one of de-escalation, or just being able to talk through what's happening, because those situations arise from feeling frustrated or not being heard or listened to, and instead of speaking up about what's happening and why they're starting to feel angry or feeling frustrated, um, instead those feelings just manifest themselves into a fight. um, yeah, 6 and 8, it just happens, and have to work through it. So on the way over here, just talking to them, a lot of times in the car is just easier because they're in a contained space, have a little bit more time to focus and listen, so are typically willing to hear you out about what's happened, reflect on what just took place and how to do it differently. Hoping for the best. Parenting's a day-to-day kind of thing. Though I think one thing I'm starting to learn myself, on my end, from managing my feelings, is not to get too down or too up on any given situation. Just know it's a longer race. It's not a sprint. Things take time, especially concepts like this to grasp. And I'm always optimistic because as a year passes by and they've aged, they've had more experiences. They do. You do see the positive change that you're hoping for. Just given that patience to allow it to happen and give it positive reinforcement. So it's a pretty, it's early, so the sun is quite low still, right in the eye. Right. I do enjoy having sunlight. I do believe in the benefits of sunlight, on the skin and on the eyes. So I try not to cover up too much, especially in the early and later parts of the day when the sun is shining, when it's not so severe from a UV standpoint. But that is bright. So for safety reasons, go ahead and throw the sunshades on. Even though I'm not the one doing the driving. Here we go. Get a little bit of a tight turn. So I took over. It still has some trouble with those left-hand turns when there's a turn lane around which it's going to navigate across. But if I let it, it will eventually get there. It's just quite jerky and awkward. So I try to correct it to maybe give some of that feedback into the system so it can review it and make some adjustments to improve going forward. I love it when it just is navigating and it takes these turns so smoothly. It's a lovely thing. One thing I just noticed, I have been noticing, like, so one of the features I think it came in the last release was the ability for the blinkers to automatically turn off when the turn is complete, or the lane change is complete. At first, it didn't seem like it was working. It was shutting off too early, but recently it is just spot on, and it's all those just little things, all these small steps of removing an additional task for you to have to worry about. It just makes the driving that much more pleasant and elegant. Yeah, it's a small thing, but I just really liked it. I don't know. I guess because when I drive, I just have a little bit of OCD, a little bit of need to control things and have things be precise. And when I change lanes, in my mind, I'm always like keeping account of turning the lane switch on early enough to be a good notification to the other drivers around me, and then turning it off when it's absolutely complete. I don't know. It's just a weird, one of those weird um, things that just gives me a small feeling of pleasure. All right, making that turn a little bit jerky. It's trying to make that decision of looking at the light, looking at the traffic, and then making that turn. I mean, it still has that hesitation, and it speaks to like just generally how the car operates and its cautious approach is that it has to make these decisions that are still not exactly crisp or automatic or intuitive. It's having to go through that process. So, but yeah, the lane change thing works great. I would suggest turning it on and letting it turn off, be assisting you and turning off as needed when you complete the lane change. So it is one thing, like if you do turn it on and you decide not to make the lane change or not to make the turn, it does continue blinking until you turn it off yourself. It doesn't like have a period of time where it'll stop. It can't sense your decision to change your mind. It hasn't gone there yet. As a Tesla, shareholder and investor, um, very excited for March 1st to come around. Okay, here we go. So we definitely have gone down this lane too far. It's going to decide now to try to change lanes when we're pretty far down this path. That just makes it awkward. All right, this person is oops, a daisy, letting me in. So I just took over and got in because otherwise I'd be blocking all those people from. See, I mean, that situation, if it would have just sat around, everyone behind me would have been waiting, not able to go forward and make their turn, and that just would have been super awkward. So yeah, definitely taking over there and getting over for the benefit of everyone around me. All right, and now it has these moments where I just feel like it doesn't move forward at a pace that I would like. It gets me clinched up. Like it gets me clinched up because I'm expecting the car to start to move, get going, but it just does it so slow, and so it just feels a little bit awkward because I have traffic around me and people behind me. Um, but it's and other times it'll just be like speed right off. So it's almost like what is the scenario that creates this delay in decision process of what seems like a pretty straightforward decision to be made? Go forward. Space is available. Accelerate. But it's a minor thing. Still, it's the rough parts about the edges that need to be smoothed out. Anyways, back to Investor Day. So I just love how Tesla primes things. I don't know who works on their marketing team or who works on the comm team, but just generally all together, how they collaborate with the engineers and just the overall company to understand, everyone's in sync of understanding what the mission of the company is, what they're trying to do for shareholders and for just their general sustainability, growth, and achievements. But anyways, I don't know. I'm getting kind of rambling because I haven't that thought wasn't very well put together. The way they drop these announcements. One, they don't do advertising, paid advertising, um, but they drop these announcements and it just propagates and it becomes viral through just sheer um, excitement of the enthusiasts of Tesla, shareholders or not, car owners or not, just people that just really love the vehicle and the company and what they're doing. Um, so they dropped this announcement. They put out the invitation. The invitation is always somewhat cryptic, somewhat, um, has hidden messages that need to be decoded. So whenever it happens, it creates this a swarm or just a frenzy of speculation and ideas. Everyone's digging through the image, scanning, counting, um, assessing, comparing, and then coming up with their own theories. And there's some, obvious ones. There's things that make straight, clear sense as far as scaling. Scaling to the need for sustainable energy path. So that they count the side and the sides to come up with a dimension and then extrapolate the number of vehicles they expect this year based on all the stamped pieces that are shown in the invitation. But then you also have the sideshow of Elon Musk and his Twitter responses, sending out a period, sending out a message, and then that message being dissected as far as like what is the meaning behind the message. I mean, it's just so great. It's so brilliant and fun. I think that's the key word. It's so fun. It just makes you excited for the day. Life is, I don't know. Anyways, life can be a chore at times, but it's just these small things that make you smile or laugh or take a moment to allow you to just be curious. And it's fantastic. I think that's the culture that really vibrates and resonates with people. Um, sure, they build beautiful cars, although at times pieces of it flawed, but it's the intent and the sheer, just their, I don't know, what they exude. It's fun, it's exciting, it's pushing things forward, it's allowing for mistakes, because with the intent of betterment of humanity and things around you, and makes life more interesting. So I definitely appreciate the company being in existence and the people that work there, being a part of that, making things fun for those that are around it and part of it through other means. So Investor Day, March 1st, should be quite fun. Probably won't live up to the hype that everything pre-investment day is building up for, but it should still be very good and exciting. I mean, they never are. The production value of those things, uh, let's honestly, is not like exceptional. It's usually just a few people on stage, Elon talking mostly, with a few slides that he never really even seems like follows for the most part. He takes a lot of tangents, and it's usually super technical in a lot of ways, so it can become a little bit dry or gets into some depth that only can be appreciated after the fact. But yeah, enjoy it while you enjoy it. Enjoy the whole thing from beginning to end and after. But I'm hoping that my hopes are that it does allow for them to announce their new vehicle. I think that's pretty high probability. It just seems like it's about the time, every 2 to 3 years, usually around that 3-year mark, they have a new vehicle announcement to keep things fresh and moving and exciting, something to promote, something to put out there for people to start to reserve and build around. And it allows them to get that feedback right in as they're continuing that process. So I think a new vehicle is up. And I think part of that new vehicle launch is an overall platform design change that allows it to occur. And that new vehicle is going to be the lower cost. I don't know if I like this whole TAL thing that's being pushed, but anyways, the compact, smaller vehicle, which I think is going to look amazing. That I think that's going to be such a cool little car. I really like the smaller versions of their. I like the Y and the three so much better than the S or the X. I mean, I love what they do with the S and the X. What the heck is this? So this guy's got a plaid, two plaids in a row, a black and a red. But this one, the black has 1020 HP sticker on the back. I don't know. That seems a little bit. I don't know. For me, that's what? Well, I mean, to each their own. He's enjoying it in his own way. Man, that's pretty cool. I wonder if this is a coincidence or these two cars somehow coordinated. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind having a plaid, but stepping into the car, having, been in one, it's just so big. It just feels so much bigger. Maybe that's only because, you get used to it and you step, it's just almost like, going from an SUV to a sedan. You have to make that adjustment viscerally around you to feel it. I don't want to catch up to those two plaids, and you're just curious about them. That was kind of weird, coincidental. But why put a 1020 HP sticker on your car? I mean, you want to, yeah, yeah. I'm just processing what I feel about that. It's okay, that's your horsepower, but I mean, that's not really the extent of it. It's not, I think what Tesla does is it just is a whole package. They bring it all together. There's a lot of cars that have a lot of, tons of horsepower, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere. Um, it's the 1020 horsepower put together with the suspension and the tires and the braking and the drag coefficient and the energy delivery system, battery management system. I mean, it's just everything put together to get that kind of performance out of it. It just seems like it's diluting or um, what's the word I'm thinking of? Minimizing the whole car by throwing that sticker on there. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Don't like it. Think it was kind of lame, but still, do appreciate that he has the car and nice that he can have a plaid to drive in. Good for this guy or woman. Good for this person. Anyway, so far you just been chatting away. Um, Drive has been pretty effortless. I think it was just that one portion after the got out of the parking lot, and only at the turn when I was making the left-hand turn, crossing over a change lane, that I took over just to. Oh no, I'm sorry, twice that, and then also when we were too far down a lane that was turning into only a turn lane that I need to take over to avoid causing pain for drivers around me to get into the correct lane. So beyond that, moving nice and easily through this neighborhood now, passing some stop signs, stop lights. Here's that one thing that does pull into intersections on green lights, and when the car in front of you is already backed up to the back of the lane. I wonder, I haven't gotten into a situation where you actually light changes and you're still in that situation, you're there, or if it assesses. I don't know. Hasn't happened, so I guess it's working fine. But typically, usually, kind of pause and wait to see if you have room to pull in, so you're not blocking the intersection. Oh, Tesla Investor Day. So what else? I mean, so they're definitely going to be talking about their scaling and how their factories are going to be taking the next stage forward with their battery production. Maybe they'll give an update on the overall battery production success with their scaling and being able to, resolve some of the things that they needed to make it happen. Okay, that was a little bit choppy. Um, so definitely, I think they'll talk about their batteries. They'll talk about the Platform 3 and their overall ability to scale with their improved stamping and casting, uh, as well as just honing in all their robotics, supporting all the manufacturing processes. And I think they will announce a new car. I think they will announce the the two new gigafactories being launched, and I think it'll be in Indonesia, yeah, Indonesia and in Mexico. I want to say that seems right. Being able to come after Latin America. Um, Coming after Latin America and getting into that East Asia location, minimizing their. Sometimes I forget I don't fully exit the cruise control and it will still keep going. That is also another thing. It's kind of odd that it does. It will. So you get out of autopilot or FSD, I mean, and but then you're still in the cruise control setup. So as soon as it sees opening, it will go up to speed for where you were. I mean, I'm in a driveway in the back of the building here, and there's no way I should be going that fast at this point. I don't know. I always end up stopping because it's accelerating at a good clip. So it's like, are you going to go right into that building? Which it doesn't seem plausible, right? It's got the autopilot feature to avoid collision. Yeah, but I'm not going to wait to find out. So that's that. That was fun.